there are probably going to be, in relation to protected characteristics, there will probably be much more bump to the Equality Act. There'll probably be more additions and more updates to it as the years pass by. I mean, we're on 2017 and we've not had an update since 2010, so I can imagine there'll probably be more factors that come into consideration within what's classed as equality and diversity in our given, day-to-day society going forward. As I've stated here, discrimination and any form of discrimination under the Equality Act is often determined by relation to a protected characteristic. So all of these are, just to name a few, protected characteristics that are considered and have to be considered within employment law. Within the Equality Act, stipulates what is considered as discrimination, and there are several different types of discrimination. So direct, and this is sometimes some of these are a little bit difficult to understand, but direct discrimination is where somebody is treated less favourably than another because of a protected characteristic. So we all have in this room protected characteristics. We have our gender, we have our age, we have our, unless there's any others at that time I'm unaware of, these are kind of the key ones that we currently have. There is also then indirect discrimination, when a rule or a policy within a company applies to everybody, but then perhaps eliminates or discriminates against people with a protected characteristic. So you might have heard on the news a couple of months ago now about a case where an office worker, or somebody working within an office environment, had been told that she must attend work wearing heels. That is actually, it became policy by this company, and that is actually a discriminatory policy. It discriminates against people with a particular protected characteristic, their protected characteristic being their gender. So that is still in dispute about whether that relates to health and safety or whether it relates to discrimination. But I would probably think that the outcome of that is going to be that a company cannot stipulate that an employee wears heels or doesn't wear heels. So discrimination by association. So perhaps discriminating against someone because they associate with someone with a protected characteristic. So that's probably a bit of a more difficult one to understand. But the way I sort of relate it back to is potentially if somebody is caring for somebody with a disability, and the company that they work for then discriminates against this individual because of something perhaps they are doing in order to care for this person with a disability. That probably is quite a common one. Because it's unclear, it probably is quite a common one. So I'd say that that's probably one to watch, really. Harassment. Again, it is classed as discrimination, but all harassment is behaviour that an employee finds offensive. And I think I've explained this before, that harassment is quite a difficult one to investigate, because actually it's how somebody feels. So if somebody feels harassed or feels that they have been harassed, that's not actually something that you can materialise. It's something that you need to just rely on how somebody states that they feel. Third-party harassment, so behaviour that other people find offensive. So an example of this could be somebody could phone a call centre and be speaking to an advisor, and in the background they might hear derogatory comments about a protected characteristic, somebody with a protected characteristic, or some derogatory comments that might not actually be necessarily about them, might be about somebody else, but they take offence to that. That is quite a common one. That's quite a common one where in areas of work you might find banter, and somebody might say, oh, I was just teasing such and such, we were just having banter, and then such and such has taken offence, so somebody else has perhaps taken offence to that. So, and that's that is well just, it's absolutely considered discrimination, and that is again a reason why perhaps lots of companies have quite specific examples of what they consider as discrimination and what not, because of the term banter within the workplace. Victimization. So protection for those who raise grievances under the Act. So everybody has a right to raise a grievance. ACAS Code of Conduct for businesses is that within that you are fully entitled to raise a grievance should you witness or be a part of something that you aren't comfortable with or that you have an issue with. That doesn't mean to say that that person raises a grievance can then become harassed or bullied or victimised in some sort of way. And it is absolutely considered discrimination if they are done so.